Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and as usual we are here to help make your homebrew campaigns the best that they possibly can be. Today we're going to have another little DM Pow-Wow and talk about something that's recently come up on Critical Role that we run into all the time as DMs, and something that we kind of have to discuss, and that is player death.
It's ironic that it's kind of gaining a lot of steam. There are articles about what has happened, and when you have your own campaigns, whether you're a DM or a player, character death is it's a controversial topic, and there's so many different ways to look at it, but it's a very conflicting kind of thing to talk about.
True, and the biggest problem that you run into is a lot what Matt Mercer is running into right now is that people fall in love with the characters that you have. And you don't want to upset that balance. You may have a good group that's going, and everybody is, really in love with each of their characters. And I've been playing him; he's 13 levels in, and all this other stuff. But character death, I feel, is necessary as a DM, and I think that honestly, a lot of the stuff that's happening now, Mercer doesn't deserve the flack for all this that he's getting, the way that people are saying things that they don't want to watch anymore or anything like that. The job of the DM is to make it challenging for the players, not to make it easy for them the entire time, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no reason for him to apologize. He's in no position to do so. If you read the articles or if you watched, it wasn't even really his fault. No. He was just there moderating what was happening due to the player's actions.
Right. Molly knocked himself unconscious with his own move. Next thing you got is, okay, so what would an enemy do in that situation? Let's think about that, right? Mm-hmm. I've had a couple of times where, you've got monsters that are all around, and one of your party members goes up and thwarts it with a thunderbolt or something to that effect. You don't think the monster's going to retaliate? Mm-hmm. I mean, they think you want it to be as real as possible with it.
Right.
They're just not mindless drones where they're going to attack whatever's closest. It's going to come and attack whatever attacked it, or something that's easy. If you see somebody laying down on the ground, it's a good chance to come over and whack it with a bat. You know what I mean?
It's a realistic situation. If they're already on the ground, hit them while they're on the ground.
Right.
I haven't been a DM as long as Tony has, so he's already kind of hardened to a lot of this stuff. But
you made a mistake, you're dead.
Me personally, it's still something new for me, and I haven't been DMing as long, so I admittedly am part of this problem where I have a hard time, finishing off players. Like, I've actually had several instances where they were on death saving throw 1 or 2, and the enemy was right next to them. And realistically, especially with a lot of these creatures with an intelligence less than 10, if they see something on the ground,
right?
They're gonna kill it. But this is something that you have to watch out for as well when you're running your campaign. As much as you love the characters and possibly the person playing the character, you have to remember that you have to run the game, and this is part of D&D, and player death has to happen. So if you have to be that guy, or that woman, be that person.
Yeah, absolutely. It creates a sense of urgency. It creates a sense of danger. And I'll tell you something, nobody wants to play a game where they always win. Mm-hmm. I hate to put it that way. And, your players might be upset the first time something like that happens. They'll sit there and go, well, it wasn't fair, what have you. But if you talk to them afterwards, just say, look, here's the thing. This has happened a couple of times. I've had a few players that have sat at my table a couple of times where they get really, really upset that they did something with it, and you don't want to be that guy that goes, well, maybe you shouldn't have smacked it in the face. But at while you're thinking that, you can sit there and relate to the way the person feels about their character and say, well, let's, what can we take away from it? What can you learn from how this experience happened with it? Because I can tell you something, if you've got a bunch of players that are there, that their entire experience has just been, oh, this is light and this is easy and I can attack it and we kill it and everything's good, then one day something eats one of their friends, all of a sudden they're a little bit more okay, well, now we're not going to let that happen anymore. Now they're a little bit more serious about how things are going instead of it just being all sunshine and kitten farts, as I like to say.
Exactly. And it's going to make their next victory or their next triumph even that much more special. You really can't have high moments without low moments, obviously, you know. So that needs to be part of your campaign. And I'm not saying purposely go out and murder your players in the next session.
No.
You know,
Although.
as fun as it is, we're not saying that you have to be that vindictive DM. You just have to be a fair, balanced DM, you know.
Absolutely fair and balanced is the way to go. It's kind of what we do here.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, to kind of summarize, I think a lot of the flack that Matt Mercer has been receiving is it's very unfair. And it's especially people that do DM, you know, we understand that he literally was doing his job.
Right, and it's, you know, you look at it and you get the perspective from the people who watch it. They're watching it because it's a show, there's characters, what have you, but you gotta understand, it's just like, you know, tuning into TV and seeing the same characters over and over again. You want that you know, storyline to continue. Sometimes stories don't work out the way you wanted them to. You just kind of have to deal with that. It actually is a great thing. A lot of people have used D&D for things with you know, coming over personal problems and issues and things like that. And one of these things is death. It's a definite thing. So don't avoid it. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Don't go out and kill them, but still enjoy it when you got it.
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of wraps things up for this one, I think. Let us know what you think below. Is it necessary? Is it unnecessary? Tell us a few stories about stuff that you've experienced DMing. Or send in your questions. We'd love to answer them. Until next time,
Keep brewing.